Hello friends. In this video we will be discussing about the concept of break statement and continue statement. How we can use this break and continue within the looping structure, what is the use of it, or in which situation we need to use break statement and in which situation we are supposed to use the continue statement. All these things we try to understand with an example within this video. So let's begin. So first of all, what is the use of break statement? So here we can see that first of all, break statement can be used either with looping statement or with switch statement. Break cannot be used other than these two scenarios. So it means that if you are using any loop, for loop, while loop, do while loop, and in that, in some of the situations or based on some of the condition, if you want to terminate the execution of that loop, then break can be used over there. In the previous video, we have also discussed about the switch statement. In that switch statement, you have also seen that we have used the break statement over there. When the body of any case comes to end, we terminate it by break statement so that when break gets executed, the switch statement is terminated. So whenever in the body of loop or a switch statement, we want to terminate the execution of that loop or a switch statement, we need to use break statement over there. So basically we can say that break statement is to terminate or break the execution of loop or the switch statement. Very simple. So whenever for just I will try to explain with an example. Suppose I have written a condition that I equals to 1 and I less than equals to 10 and I plus plus. So if you look at the initialization and condition and the increment decrement, you can see that this loop gets executed for 10 times because it starts from 1, it lasts up to 10. But if you want to terminate the execution of that loop in between, then break statement can be useful over there. Now the next is continue statement. So continue statement can be used to skip the part of the execution of the body. So suppose there are 10 statements within the body of the loop. Suppose I have written a for loop. In that body part of loop contains 10 statements. And in some of the cases I want to skip 3-4 statements. So that can be done with the help of continue. So if I write continue, so that particular iteration, for that particular iteration, this 3-4 statement will not be executed, or once continue is being executed, it will directly jump to the next iteration. So continue will not terminate the execution of the loop. If the loop is starting from 1 and it lasts up to 10, so this particular loop will execute 10 times. No termination in between. But if you have written continue, then it may possible for some of the scenarios or for based on your condition, some of the part of your body can be skipped for some iterations. So now this is just a theory. We try to understand both the cases with an example. It will be giving you a clear cut idea. So first of all, we start with the break statement. Here you can see that break statement I have used with the condition. So here I have written break, and break executes when your condition becomes true. So simply looping statement remains same, initialization, condition, exit statement, and in the body there can be any number of statement before or after. Okay, but whenever you need to use the break, break can be written like this. In most of the cases, break can be written along with the condition, that if condition gets executed or it becomes true, then I need to break the loop. So here I have taken one example that we need to print numbers. So we need to print numbers. So how many numbers are to be printed? So it is given that whose sum is less than 10, means suppose we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 like this numbers. So we need to print numbers, but we need to check out when we make the sum of this. So 1 is 1, but when you make the sum of these two, so 1 plus 2 becomes 3, then sum of first 3 becomes 6. Sum of first 4 becomes 10. So we need to check out the sum. So what it has asked, okay, we need to print all those numbers starting from 1, but we need to check or how many numbers are to be printed. Numbers are to be printed in such a manner that sum of those numbers should be less than 10. Sum of those numbers should be less than 10. To make it simple, I have taken this 10. So by just calculating, we can see that how many numbers are to be printed. But this can be any, this can be 100, this can be 1000, this can be 555, whatever. So you never know or you never predict how many iterations are required. Suppose I'll ask you, print all those numbers and the sum should be less than 333. So sum should be less than 333. So in this case, we cannot predict how many iterations. I can write I equals to 1. But what is the destination? So that we don't know, because we don't know that sum of how many numbers will be near to 333. So in this case, we don't know the destination. So in this type of cases, what we can do? So for example, just for example, here we will continue with this example, that we need to check is ensure that sum should be less than 10. Okay, so here what I have written, I equals to 1. Since we don't know the destination, we don't have surety about the destination, so we have leave it blank. So this is blank, destination is blank, means it is infinite loop. Okay, now we are starting from I equals to 1. Now we have taken sum equals to initially 0. So now I'm writing I equals to 1, and I'm writing sum equals to 0. Okay, this is sum. So we I equals to 1, condition is not there, directly we jump into the loop, sum equals to sum plus I. So now sum will be what? 1. Now 1 greater than equals to 10, the condition is false. So it will come to the printf statement. So on the screen, what will be printed? 1 will be printed. Now again, it will come over here, I plus plus. Now I will be what? 2. Now we move inside, sum is 1, 1 plus 2 is 3. So now sum becomes 3. 3 greater than equals to 10, condition false. So directly we will be printing the value of I. So what is I? I is 2. Now I will be incremented, I is now 3. We move inside, sum equals to 3 plus I equals to 3. So now new sum is 6. 6 greater than equals to 10, condition false. So we print 3 on the screen. Now I will be incremented, now I will be 4. Sum equals to 6, I is 4, 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 greater than equals to 10. So see, it has asked it that sum should be less than 10. So now in this case, sum becomes 10. So it is not less than 10. So now 10 greater than equals to 10 condition is true. So this break statement gets executed, and this break statement will lead you to the out of the loop. Means your loop is terminated and you jump out of the loop. So in this manner, your loop gets executed like this 4 times, and 1, 2, 3 is printed on the screen. So see, we have not returned destination, but even though we can come out of the loop by this explicit condition. Okay, we by this explicit condition. Now suppose we have taken the example of 333. So suppose it has asked that sum should not be or sum should be less than 333. So what I can do? Just I replace this condition by this, if sum greater than equals to 333, and then remaining things remains as it is. Fine. So this particular loop will be executed that much number of times which is required to make the sum less than 333. But we don't know right now that this loop will be executed how many number of times. So when you don't know the destination or you don't know exact iterations, okay, this many iterations needs to be there, then you can go with this type of condition. For example, another example I want to give, then I can say that if it is asked, to you to print 50 prime numbers, first 50 prime numbers. So now you don't know that first 50 prime numbers should be there in which range. It is not asked like you need to print prime number between 1 to 50. It is not like that. it has asked to print first 50 prime numbers, like the first prime number is 2, then 3, then 5, and likewise we need to count, we need to find whether this number is prime or not, and at the same time we need to count, we need to increment that count, and that count becomes 50, then we need to terminate the loop. So in this case also we exactly don't know when prime number becomes 50, so that we cannot specify any condition over here. But here what we can do, we can write if count equals to 50, then break, and this count is to be incremented whenever we get a prime number, we increment the count, cnt equals to cnt plus 1. So ultimately, not in nutshell, if I want to conclude, then I can say that when you don't know exactly how many iterations should be there in your loop, then you can go with this break statement. So I hope you understood this. Now we try to understand the concept of continue. Now continue is there to skip some of the body part. So again the syntax remains same, some condition and the statement continue is to be used. So now we take out the example. So print all the numbers between 1 to 10. So see here source and destination is given starting from 1 up to 10. But all those numbers which are not divisible by 3. Okay, so between 1 to 10 we need to print the numbers, but those numbers are not to included which are divisible by 3. Okay, so for that what I have written, condition starts with 1 up to 10 an increment. Now if a number is divisible by 3, then what I have written, I have written continue. Continue means what? When this continue statement gets executed, so all the statement which falls below continue statement within the loop. So in this particular case, only one statement, that is this print statement. Okay, this printf statement is after this continue statement. So when continue gets executed, from here directly your control will jump to the next iteration. So remaining part of the body will be skipped for that particular iteration. It will not be terminated. Loop will be executed fixed number of times based on the initialization and the condition. It will not be terminated prematurely, but it will skipped. Okay, so we try to understand with one example. So here I equals to 1, so I 1 1 modulo 3. So now we just see the screen, I equals to 1, 1 modulo 3 is not equals to 0, right? So this condition is not true, so print 1 on the screen. In the same way now I becomes 2, this condition is false, so 2 will be printed on the screen. Now it comes to 3, now 3 modulo 3 gets 0, this condition is true, so this continue statement gets executed, means that now it will not move behind, no, it will not move below, it will directly jump from this statement to the looping statement, or we can say next iteration. So for 3, this printf statement will be skipped, so this will not be printing, 3 will not be printed on the screen. Now it will I plus plus, it will be incremented, so now I will be 4, 4 modulo 3, this condition is false, so 4 will be printed on the screen. 5, 5, this condition is false, 5 will be printed on the screen. Now I is 6, 6 modulo 3 gives you 0. So continue gets executed, means that the remaining part of the body will be skipped. It will directly move to the increment decrement statement. So now this printf will be skipped again. So now I becomes 7, 7 modulo 3, condition false. So 7 will be printed. 8 modulo 3, condition false, 8 will be printed. Now for 9, 9 modulo 3 gives you 0. So continue. So this part will be skipped. It will not be printed on the screen. Now I will become 10. So 10 modulo 3, this condition is false. So 10 will be prompted on the screen. So you can see all the numbers are printed, but the numbers which are divisible by 3 are not included in the list. So this loop gets executed how many times? 10 times. Based on this initialization and condition, this is executed exactly 10 times. But For some of the cases, for the cases of 3, 6 and 9, this printf statement is skipped because of this continue statement. So whenever the situation is like this, that you need to repeat some 5 10 statement 10 times, 50 times, but in some of the cases that some of the body part should be skipped or it will not be executed, then you can use continue. So in break, if we have written I equals to 1 and I less than equals to 10, we cannot have surety that loop gets executed all the 10 times, because due to break, loop can be breaked prematurely. But in the case of continue, if it has written I equals to 1, I less than equals to 10, so we have surety that loop will be executed exactly 10 number of times. So I hope you understood the concept of break and continue. Thank you for watching the video.